we have to begin with the people in the relationship. If you are a wounded person, you will find yourself either becoming the abuser or becoming the abused or becoming the toxic person in that relationship. And when you put the two of you together, then it is going to create a lot of fireworks, and that relationship is not going to be mutually beneficial to both of you. One of the risk factors of a toxic relationship is a history of toxicity in your primary relationship. Is the relationship you had with your family of origin. So your mom and dad, your siblings, and the people that you closely interacted with when you were early in your development, and that is your first 10 years of life. When we are thinking about, are you a toxic person, or are you with a toxic person, or are you with a person who triggers toxicity in you, you need to go back to when you were growing up, the first 10 years of your life. There are a couple of things that if these needs were never met when you were growing up, they will affect the way that you do relationships as an adult. Number one, if you are not experiencing full acceptance and also inclusivity, what we might call love, feeling loved, valued, and acceptable, you will find yourself struggling a lot in your other relationships. Then number two, if you are not helped to feel that you can reach goals, that you are capable and you have ability to be successful, then you will struggle with connecting as an adult in healthy relationships. Either you will come into relationships seeking other people to make you feel good, because when you don't get those emotional needs of belonging and of feeling that you are valued and you are a person of value, what you do, you develop what we call a not good enough attitude. So you think yourself you're not enough. So you need outside validation, you need outside things to help you feel like you're a person of worth. So if you are a person who struggles with self-doubt, self-confidence, low self-esteem, questioning about your worth, questioning about your capability, you need to be able to sit back and ask, could I be the one who brings toxicity in the relationship that I'm in? If you grew up with abuse within your family, either you went through violence, domestic violence, there was sexual violence, there was neglect, those kinds of things, they will put you at risk for toxic relationships, because you do not even know how a healthy relationship looks like. When you are a child, all the way up to 15, what happens is that if you continually experience woundedness, you develop certain coping mechanisms, and those coping mechanisms, you carry them into your adulthood unless you go through a process of healing, identifying your emotional wounds, and being able to go through a process of healing those emotional wounds from your childhood, so that now you can grow into a person that is separate from the abuse and the toxicity that you experienced as a child. Because what is going to happen if you now connect with another person, you are either going to trigger toxicity in them, or they are going to trigger toxicity in you. Now, unless you find somebody who is very secure and somebody who has high levels of emotional intelligence, it is going to be very difficult for you to experience a mutually satisfying relationship. So what are the things that maintain a toxic relationship? Is the people who need to be needed. You feel that you are not good enough, so you have to keep giving other people for you to feel that you are a person of worth. And so you give, and you self-reject. When you do that, if you are with a person who is an abuser, who is a toxic person, they take advantage of you, and you are not able to set boundaries and to set healthy patterns in this relationship, because you do not know how to. And that is why it's important for you to take some time to really understand yourself and understand your history and understand the conditioning that you have been through. And a lack of boundaries also means that even if you set boundaries, you are not consistent, and you keep allowing another person to step all over you, and you are not able to stand up towards them. Now, you could be the passive aggressive person in the relationship. Your other partner, they may have their own issues, but what happens is that you don't act out, they do act out, and you allow yourself to stay in this acting out space because you use passive aggression, like you don't speak for days, you withhold things that are due into the relationship, while the other person also has a don't care attitude. So they do whatever they want, you also do whatever you want. Nobody is paying attention to the health of this relationship. Things that have happened to us, insecurities, inability to trust people, inability to have self-control when it comes to behaviors that are self-destructive. When we do not allow ourselves to grow out of these behaviors that are self-destructive, they also distract the relationship we are in. So sometimes people tend to stay together over time because of what we call trauma bonding. And what is trauma bonding? Where a person stays in a relationship that they are connected with someone who is abusive and toxic, but they maintain the relationship by having these cyclical patterns of competitiveness, of putting each other down, doing self-destructive behaviors and distracting the relationship. But they still stay together because they feel comfortable, they feel connected, but they are connected on these abusive spaces. If you keep staying with a person who is not bringing out the best in you, who you are not bringing out the best in them, it's time for you to consider that maybe what you call love is actually bonding around negativity. We want to take time to evaluate that. And so if you are a victim of domestic violence growing up as a child, you are a victim of any kind of sexual violence at any time during your life, you are a victim of neglect and abandonment, any kind of abuse that you went through as a child, whether it was intended or not, what will happen is that your relationships are going to be very difficult. And so it's time for you to stop and to be able to evaluate where you are and begin to choose to do the right thing, to learn, to unlearn some old behaviors and learn new ones so that you can make the right choices that would help you to go into a more healthier relationship. So until I see you next time, I hope that this has helped you and that you will reach out to me. My contact numbers are on the screen, and also my you can go to my website and reach me there, and I would be glad to help you further. Until next time, continue to live by design.